Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and after the customary week off between stages, Stage 4 of the CDL 2021 begins later today with the OpTic Chicago home series. But many interesting things to talk about before we get into that. Kind of a sad topic in a way between SlasheR and JKap. The fact that, after having such a rosy relationship for so many years, seems to have completely fell apart since JKap effectively made the decision in part to drop SlasheR from their team earlier on this season. Enjoy taking your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this from Zachdenia, because of course, there is lots of questions right now whether these changes that pretty much all these teams have made going into Stage 4 are actually going to work out to their benefit. Zed, of course, gets dropped off the Royal Ravens not too long ago. Now, we'll have a look at some of those roster changes just to recap if you guys haven't kept up with everything these last couple of days. But as he says, 2-0 in the Elite. Can anyone stop Zed? Find out tomorrow in the next Elite game. Not sure if he actually won it or not, but I thought this was a cool tweet regardless. These then are the changes that these teams have been making. London, Zed is out. Zaptius, of course, has gone to Paris. Just wanted to bring this on screen for a second. I'm pretty sure we talked about it yesterday, so I didn't want to, walk through absolutely everything. I'm sure most of you guys are clued up on what's happening right now, but yeah, these are the starting rosters we will see in action coming up later this week, and well, starting today, of course. This I thought I'd mention as well from Crow. New challengers rosters could change. Of course, many players that aren't in the, not in the pro scene anymore, or at least are sitting on the bench, or something to that effect. Accuracy, Sparks, Pro Luton, Saint is going to be a squad, Parasite, Fire, Hamza and Yeez, General, Mayhem, Welly and Wiz, Diamond Gold, Royalty, Exotic +1, maybe Davfetty, not sure, Crone keeping up to date on all this type of stuff. So yeah, loads of new challengers rosters with so much talent on these squads, but a lot of these not even in the Elite, right? So only 8 teams in the Elite makes it pretty difficult. I mean, that's the question, right, with the Pro League. It's like, okay, do we need more teams in the Pro League? And then I'm pretty sure easyMac was raising the questions yesterday, should we have more teams in the Challengers Elite bracket, so, we don't get rosters like this that are very talented but are sitting even outside of their, I guess the second tier in Challengers if you want to look at it from that perspective. This I thought was kind of funny as well. There has been some discussion regarding, okay, what map could come into the Search and Destroy map set if we need another one to replace Miami, which I think a lot of people would be pretty happy about. I mean, easyMac was suggesting on the Breaking Point podcast, maybe you consider trying out Apocalypse Search and Destroy or something to see if that might work, because maybe that would be better than Miami. I think you could certainly argue that is the case. We've heard rumours that potentially other maps are going to be remastered by Treyarch going forwards as well, and if that does happen before Stage 5 begins, we could still have a chance to get them in the map set. Meltdown was a pretty legendary Black Ops 2 Search and Destroy map, but I mean, Rambo and JKap aren't particularly happy about this one because, of course, they lost in, it was round 10, game 11 at the World Championship when they were both on Envy together, when they came runner-up to Freako Impact. If you guys are OGs, you'll know certainly about that one. This I thought was really cool as well as we go into the Los Angeles Thieves topic of discussion. Lyman's been working on these cards for a long time with Breaking Point for the Los Angeles Thieves, guys. This is a really cool video. I just think it's kind of funny in a way that every single time Thieves seem to make a video of pretty much any sort, there's always a player on the team that's been dropped before the video goes live. I mean, you see it here with Huke. The vibes were kind of strange in this video. I don't know, people were pointing it out, the fact that it seemed like Huke, not necessarily like an outcast or whatever, and of course he's new to the team anyway, so the chemistry isn't necessarily going to be there, but it didn't seem like the vibes were necessarily flowing with Huke and the rest of the team, so maybe they recorded it on one of the days where they kind of thought that maybe we're going to put him back to the bench or something and bring TJ back, so kind of a strange situation, but it seems to be every time Thieves make a video, or at least they're planning to, they make a change within the next couple of days before anything actually comes to fruition. This from Lyman as well. Here are some of the cards made for Thieves. A couple of these didn't make the video. The Doug one, the TJHaLy one. Honestly, all this stuff is really, really cool indeed. Love to see these actually become some sort of trading card collectible type stuff. I think the league are maybe working on these upper deck ones, so we'll have to see how those go over time. But Lyman's are kind of legendary within the scene. But yeah, cool to see them get utilized and actually printed in some form or another. So, speaking of Los Angeles Thieves, this comes out from the Call of Duty League a couple of days ago when Duty Calls JKap415 talks about the ins and outs of his new coaching role and more. Watch the full video here. So talks with Merc about some pretty interesting stuff, right? His transition from being a player back on OpTic Gaming Los Angeles last season, teaming alongside SlasheR, of course, to becoming a coach. I mean, look, JKap and SlasheR go way back as a duo, and that's the thing, right? That was the whole discussion about, in a way, the Friendship League. You can actually see right there. That's when, they won the World Championship together way back in 2016 on Team Envy on Black Ops 3. And yeah, obviously such a legendary player. We talked just yesterday about the Hall of Fame in a way, and JKap certainly has to be someone who's considered to be up there, a 2-time world champion. I mean, been around for so many years. Now, of course, moving into a coaching role, and I think he kind of realized after Modern Warfare, or during Modern Warfare, the coaching role was probably his best bet, all things considered. And of course, coaching SlasheR, his long-time duo partner, teammate for, of course, so many years at this point. But as he says in this video, it's kind of sad in a way, but I mean, of course, JKap made the difficult decision that they were pretty much the worst team in the league going into entered the Stage 2 Major, something significantly had to change, and well, you know, they made the call to drop him effectively and put him to the bench and switch something up very significantly. You can see when they won the World Championship together right here back in 2016, and well, as he talks about it, it's kind of sad in a way, right, that SlasheR and JKap, the relationship that they once had, is pretty much completely blown apart, and saying that SlasheR doesn't even really talk to him anymore.
Well, I think previously, I'll say, with Tempa and SlasheR, all four, counting myself, 5 hard-headed people involved, conversations would go in circles for legitimately 30, 45 minutes about something that was basically irrelevant. And I'm not exaggerating that, unfortunately. By the end of Stage 2 with SlasheR, we were probably looking like the worst team. The way I said it was like, we weren't in last place, but if there was a power rankings going into that Stage 2 Major, we were probably 12th for most people. Like, we were bad. And we said, hey, we could try to do something with this major. We have to try a drastic change. When me and Eric, we called Austin together, and when we did it, we just got straight into it. We just told him straight up, like, hey, we're not gonna beat around the bush, because there's no point. Like, I'm not gonna ask him how he's doing, because he doesn't want, no one wants to deal with that small talk crap. I kind of explained the full thought process. Like, we were just at a point where, if we're the worst team in the league, we gotta try something different. I mean, I know how much it hurts. So, like, especially having to go through that with Austin was tough. I haven't talked to him since, if I'm being honest. I don't think he likes me very much right now, but at the end of the day, you have to remember, you have to do what's best for the team. You know, you gotta do what's best for the organization. Ultimately, we think we made the right move. I feel good about it in that sense, but like, person to person, Austin's a good friend of mine. I feel horrible for him.
So it is unfortunate to see how this has developed over time. I mean, as SlasheR tweets out right here, this is way back in, January of last year, but where the crowd booed us in Minnesota at JKap. So yeah, obviously a long-term partnership within the scene. Interesting really to know what happens with SlasheR next, right? Because if you're JKap, you've made this call to bench SlasheR, not necessarily just you, but the team's come to a decision that something's got to change. And SlasheR, of course, is a big piece to change and has been such a great player for so many years. But at the same time, like, if your team does need a culture shift, and there's been issues with playing on like Call of Duty and getting frustrated within the team, like trading out SlasheR or at least putting him to the bench is going to be a move that will shake up your entire roster, no doubt about that. So SlasheR going to the bench, I mean, understandable, and especially I'm sure JKap's looking back on this move and thinking probably the best thing I ever did as a coach, right? Because now the team is at the very least competitive, and with that initial TJ roster that they've now brought back with Drazah, Kenny and Venom, they actually look like a top 3, top 4 team in the game. So we'll have to see if they can replicate that form coming up this week at the OpTic Chicago home series, of course. But yeah, what happens for SlasheR next? Big questions there. Are there other squads in the league that actually have a place for a guy like SlasheR to come into their lineup? This I thought was pretty interesting as well. There was some discussion about the fact that SlasheR isn't playing on the challenger side, and what does that mean? I mean, look, I'm not sure exactly it's going to hurt his stock or anything, because SlasheR is SlasheR, and if there's opportunities in other organizations, then people are probably going to pick him up regardless. But still, I mean, if you are a player of this caliber, there's a lot of players who have gone down there to the challenger side, at least to stay warm, right? Because that's the thing, if you're SlasheR, if you're someone like Huke, and if you're deciding not to play through challenges, which, maybe understandably so for certain reasons, challenges is a bit of a minefield, like the whole host situation, and the teams are changing every other day. It's obviously a tough time to be down there. A lot of the pros that have gone down there have had a very difficult time doing so. At the same time, it does give you the opportunity to actually stay warm in a sense and actually practice and play with the team. If you're just sitting on the sidelines playing the occasional 8 series, then maybe you're not actually staying warm as you might do, and that might affect you if you were asked to be brought back into the team later in the season or something to that effect. But of course, with all the teams looking as they are right now, and a lot of them making changes, I don't really see SlasheR going anywhere for the rest of this season. And we talked about yesterday, like whether Octane's thinking, okay, can I sneak maybe onto 100 Thieves or Los Angeles Thieves next time? Then what does that mean for SlasheR, especially if there's no expansion? Yeah, big questions I'm sure coming up. But these, of course, are how the point standings sit going into this week of the major. So, I mean, FaZe here at 340 points. Sublime is actually in second. That's pretty incredible to think about, given how, I guess, they looked shaky for a time. Dallas Empire were clear-cut number 2. Now Dallas Empire have been overhauled. I imagine they'll get overhauled again by Toronto Ultra if the performances of those two teams keep up as they have done so far, these last couple of weeks, certainly. And OpTic sit here in 5th, and honestly, despite OpTic looking better, I mean, the seeding is very important for champs here, right? Like, you want to get the best seeding so you can play the worst possible teams in the early round of champs. If you're like OpTic in 5th, you'll be playing like, I guess, like Ultra first round in 4th, or however they decide to do the brackets. Whereas if you're FaZe with the number 1 seed, you get to play the Mutineers or whatever if they do a kind of traditional, double elimination type bracket where the first seed plays the 8 seeds, etc., through the bracket. So certainly the standings here are pretty important. So you need to have big weeks not only at the majors, but also in terms of these matches that are coming up. Thought this was an interesting stat as well, just speaking on Seattle. The highest one kill per round. So percentage of search and destroy rounds with at least 1 kill. Octane has the highest with 59%, then it's aBeZy, then Cammy, then Awakening, then Scump. So, I mean, Octane kind of dominating it. But what's kind of interesting is that the rest of his team, Classic, of course, has only just joined the squad, so a little bit different. But Prestinni, Gunless, and Looney all have really low ones. So I'm not exactly sure what that says, but Octane certainly, at least statistically in search and destroy, has been much better this season than he has in previous ones. And well, as Arcitys says, excited to get back at it tomorrow. #GameFace, #EasyAF. FaZe are back in action later today, looking, of course, to extend their lead at the top of the podium. It's pretty incredible. They're only, 22-4, like only 4 series losses the entire season is pretty remarkable compared to the rest of the league, which is pretty much, well, mixing it up around even a lot of these squads. Pretty surprising in a way to see, so many of these teams that are really close in terms of their map win, or match win, match loss percentage, map win, map loss as well. And then FaZe just leading it out here at the top. Clearly still the team to beat at the present time. These are the games that are coming up later today. Then, of course, some big ones on the week. I mean, you can look at the Sunday, the FaZe versus OpTic, the Ultra versus Empire. I think that's a big one. We see OpTic in action tomorrow on the Friday up against the Minnesota Rokkr. On Saturday, we see Surge play against the Thieves. That's going to be pretty interesting to see. Pretty sure those teams only play 1 game this week. They play against each other. Exciting stuff, certainly. And well, then on the Thursday, these are the games we have later today. FaZe in action against the Paris Legion. Should be a nice start of a FaZe really here. But Paris, in a way, it's a good thing for them in a sense, because if Paris lose this series with their new team with Zaptius, that's totally expected. Get some more practice under their belt with this new organisation against the best team in the game, and then move on from there when they certainly need to actually have some must-win series. For example, later in the week on the Saturday when they play the Minnesota Rokkr. So if anything, it's good for Paris getting the difficult series out the way first, get some maybe jitters out the system with the new squad, and try and make a run here in this group. But it's not going to be easy to do because that group is absolutely stacked, of course, with FaZe, OpTic, Thieves, Minnesota Rokkr, Paris Legion, and the Seattle Surge. The other game of the day is Ultra versus the Mutineers. Can Ultra keep up their incredible form they have had so far? Of course, the 2 grand finalists, not the 2 grand finalists from the last stage, but from stage 2, certainly Ultra and FaZe, still arguably the top 2 teams in the game right now, playing today. Mutineers having not made a roster change despite having a very poor finish to the stage 3 major, where they went 0 in 6 map count, over their last couple of matches to bow out to the tournament. Can they bounce back at all? Because, I mean, they're in somewhat of a precarious spot right now, sitting at 8th in the CDL standings. Only, of course, 8 teams qualify for the World Championship. But intriguing to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Sleeveless Doug getting hyped over a nasty 1v4 here from Hamza is a great way to finish off the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Last 3 in front of you.
Oh,
on you, low right behind you.
Oh my God!